back with some pixie dust on Kandi and Phadrea. And the question that I'm going to answer is why Phadrea, or better yet, who is pulling the strings that caused the breakdown in Phadrea coming back to Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I understand that they was in talks with Phadrea, I guess, to try to get the money right for her to come back. But there's a lot of behind the scenes things that we don't know. But I was watching Kandi online as she interviewed Andy Cohen, where there I learned Andy Cohen no longer works for Bravo. That's where I think Nene come in at. When Andy says, they asked was Nene suspended. And Andy said, Nene will never be unemployed. And then he walked away. I got ideas of what he mean by that, and I think I've said it in a few of my other videos. But back to Kandi and Phadrea. Now, in that interview, Kandi didn't ask this question, but Andy put it out there. If she asking a different question that people want to know, like I mentioned, like I did on my last video with Marlo, why Marlo will never return to Real Housewives of Atlanta, will never get a peach. He also included Phadrea. As you know, people want Phadrea to come back to the show. Throwing it out there, exposing Kandi as the reason Phadrea didn't come back to the show when Kenya was coming back. Because Kandi went out of her way and plotted with Cynthia to get Kenya back on the show to basically smudge Nene in the face. But when Andy threw that out there, well, Phadrea can probably come back to the show. Kandi went into a tailspin, eye rolling, body rolling backwards some kind of way. And Andy looked at her, and Andy didn't say, "Oh, I'm kidding." Andy was like flipped. Flipped. He said that, then Kandi did that, and then Andy rolled it right on into. He just continued with his discussion without Phadrea, but what he did was threw that in there that everybody could see with their own eyes. Kandi is the one that stopped Phadrea from coming back. Now, she can support other people in their grudges to say, well, Kenya should come back on the show, and I think her, well, why you think? I think her fans should not go a whole season without seeing her and her baby. And I don't see where that's any of Kandi's business. She is not a part of production. And when Andy mentioned there isn't a consensus for, when Andy mentioned Marlo would never get a peach because there has to be a consensus. Apparently, that tells me that Kandi is not a part of the production. Got cut off, didn't know it. did all that talking, probably 10, 15 minutes, and realized it cut off before 5 minutes. But anyway, last thing I said was Kandi is not a part of RHOA, I think I said. But anyway, this thing with Kandi and Phadrea, it's obvious to me that the breakdown in Phadrea coming back to Real Housewives of Atlanta had everything to do with Kandi. And Kandi probably threatened to sue Bravo. Because in that same interview, Andy revealed he no longer works for Bravo. He left because he got his own show now that he didn't expect to take off the way it did. Watch What Happened Live. He said that done got so big to the point now he don't have time for Bravo, but he still stayed on as executive producer, and then he had to let that go. So now he has no working dealings with Bravo. And in selling all of that, Kandi threw in the fact that Phadrea could also come back. And Kandi's response, it wasn't a response. Her reaction, her whole body acted like it going to need some kind of spinning thing. She doesn't want Phadrea back. Kandi knows that what Phadrea did has everything to do with production. She knows how production works. She don't allow production to use her in that way. And neither does Nene. But Nene said it. Nene said she told Cynthia, production will give you information as the only reason you can stay on this show. And Nene told Cynthia, she needs to get to a place where she doesn't allow that to happen. Cynthia didn't listen, and they used Cynthia to just destroy Nene to the point where the woman had 2 breakdowns. The first one was when Claudia was on there, and she brought that doctor in to help her, and the doctor turned on Nene and went to everybody else. And so now Nene and that doctor not in a good place. I forgot who that doctor was, but y'all know him. And season 11, when Cynthia did what she did in surprising Nene with Kenya. Now people say that, like she says, they try to make it look like she just wanted all her people there, and they telling Cynthia what to say. You can see Kenya, and you can see Kenya, and you can see look at this. Oh, you can see Kenya, and you can see Kandi, all making excuses as to why Nene did what did, as to why Kenya wanted, as to why Cynthia wanted Kenya. After why Cynthia wanted Kenya at her Belinda thing, and I don't think it had nothing to do with it. I think they wanted to smudge Nene in her face by bringing that on there. And production, like Nene tried to tell Cynthia that Kandi never allowed to happen with her. And I think Eva is making that mistake at this point. Portia never allowed that to be her reason for being on there, because they work hard for a storyline. And I see Tanya's not even going that route. To be on the show, you got to put Nene in this position so we can see how she reacts. We want to see Nene completely broken down and collapse to a point of no return. That's an evil thing to do to somebody. So Cynthia allowed them to do that to Nene, and Kandi took part in it. Now, Kandi, they say Kandi was up for being off the show too. So I think maybe Kandi allowed it this time, and her and Cynthia team up. Because why do Kandi and Kenya are not friends like that. Kandi ain't really friends with nobody like that. She just friends of people. Kind of associate friends of people. So, it's like this. Why they had to do what they did. And the fact that Nene brought it out on that interview. They say there was no reason for Kenya to believe there's no reason for Nene to believe Kenya would ever be on that last final. It's because Kenya was fired from the show. And there was no reason for Nene to even think about Kenya showing up till Cynthia's Bellini wine thing, opening thing. Her wine thing opening up. And I don't think that's gonna be very successful because how that been? The only way for these three, because in the end you know that was Kandi, Cynthia, Shamari, Eva, Tanya. Those 5 was fighting to stay on that show. Eva won out because I don't know why she won out, but I kind of see with her situation and how she back on there. Tanya's back on there because Tanya just mostly stay low. I see why Shamari's not on there. Because how do your storyline was whack. I had twins. I don't get out there and I didn't understand my alcohol. Look, girl, bye. You don't come in someone's house and throw up in someone's house. Nene probably do like, okay, throw up in my house, roach in my house. Come on now. You just some things you just anyway, I digress. So Kandi and Cynthia. Basically Kandi did what Phadrea did. Phadrea was given the information, and that got Phadrea fired off the show because Kandi demanded it happen. Kandi wanted Portia going too, but that wasn't going to happen because I don't care how you blame Portia, that was not Portia's fault. The same way somebody gives Kandi information and it got aired out there, it's the same thing that happened to Portia. So she being mad at Phadrea because Phadrea told Portia that Kandi know how it works. Because she just fell into it to stay on the show. She don't have a storyline, really. Because this thing is about Portia and Dennis and their baby. And then Kenya come back competing with Portia and Dennis and her baby. But the problem is the husband of hers, is that secret thing up there, making Kenya look crazy. So only 2 people on there with a really, really great storyline that's carrying the show is Portia first and Nene second. That's what I think. Portia got free content. She got free content from Tasha K. Cardi B might have got Tasha K there, but Tasha K gave Portia her content, and Portia never responded once. All Portia got to do is respond to the content that's out there, which is the millennial way. Even though Brat hate the fact that Portia's a millennial, Portia using that millennial way as that new wave in. Because these millennials, it's time for the millennials to come on in. You getting old. The millennials are getting older. If you doing this thing between the millennials is 18 to 49, casting who people think is the queen, and I didn't even follow that queen thing, 'cause that's crazy. Because first of all, they left out my age group. They left out my demographic. And just stop at 49. You do that. Shoot. I'll be 60 next year. Come on now. How you gonna leave out 50 and over? 50 and over is who watching these people. Anyway, I don't think no raise nothing going down. I think people just playing with the numbers. And I'm not falling for it. But anyway, Kandi has been exposed by Andy because Andy has nothing to, he doesn't work for Bravo anymore. So he has nothing to lose exposing Kandi as the one that derailed Phadrea coming back to the show. And that's the pixie dust that I have to offer for Kandi and Phadrea, and why Phadrea did not return to the show. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.